to another episode of the eReads podcast, my podcast where I talk with creatives, authors, and all those who are interested about talking about the intersection between wellness and creativity and why it's important, and giving us some strategies and tips to maximize both. And today I have the amazing Emily Fisher here, author of The Silverfish, to talk about how do you go from idea to getting it on the page. And so I'm really excited to bring her up and to talk to her. But before that, my name is Liz, and I'm a therapist, author, and creative wellness coach. And I've got some announcements for y'all. So first, Kickstarter season is almost here. June 1st, I'm starting my 30-day Kickstarter for the audiobook funding for book 2 in my mystery series, Chasing Nightmares. This is about my amateur sleuth, Lear, who has dreams about people in need. And in book 2, someone she loves is too close to the flames, and she has to put these clues together before it is too late. It will be human narrated by the amazing Star Williams, so make sure to hit the notify button to get all the updates and to know of when it's launched. If you're like, I'm not an audiobook person, but you want the physical copy or ebook, that is also available within the Kickstarter. So you can go on the notify page and you'll see all of the, like a sneak peek of the offers that I'll have. Now, book signings. Y'all, I'm probably coming to a city near you, so make sure to go to the book signing page on my website so you can see all the workshops and upcoming events. All right, I think that is all I have for you. We have Emily here, and I'm going to bring her up. And as always, y'all, if you have questions, oh, yay!
Like, oh my God. Instagram hates computers. Like, Instagram's like,
No, literally.
your PC. So, okay, we're here. Everything has been updated. I'm on my phone. If I die, it's because the phone ran out of battery because I didn't know I'd be on the phone. But we're just chilling. We're vibing.
Listen, I'm like, I got my setup because I'm like, oh, the phone might die. So, like, if it does, y'all, like, just know we're all good.
We're all good. We'll figure it out. We always do.
Right. Emily, please introduce yourself to the folks listening.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Fisher. I'm a Rhode Island educator and a author who has published her first book. It's not even a year old yet. It's still a
Really?
yeah. It's at the first year anniversary will be in May. So not even a full year yet. And I also work with the Community Players, which is Rhode Island's oldest active community theater. We've been around 104 years. So
let's go.
Yeah. So that's me. That's my life. It's pretty simple.
Oh, I love it. And I'm so excited to talk about, so like being in the creative space, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas, but like, how do you take that from like in your head to like on the page or on the stage or wherever?
Right.
So, please tell us about your book, The Silverfish, because I love how you talk about it. It's, as soon as you're like mailman, space, stowaway, I'm just like, ooh, I need to add this to my reading list.
Yay, thank you so much. So The Silverfish is a like sci-fi adventure novel, like purposely written to be like very pulpy, reminiscent of like classic adventure stuff. That is about a crew of interstellar postmen who discover a stowaway on their ship. The stowaway has left his home planet because it's in the midst of a civil war and he is not going back. And the crew of the Silverfish says, look, we can get you to where you want to go, but you didn't pay for expedited shipping. So it is going to be like 2 weeks before we get you there. And
I think that is so hilarious.
It was a lot of fun for me to be like, why don't they just take him where he needs to go? And the answer is, oh, he didn't pay for his expedited shipping, duh. And so what their stowaway has not disclosed to them is that he's actually the son of a high-ranking military official back on his planet. So now the military of this fascist theocracy is after this little postal ship that's just trying to do its job.
That is hilarious. And I'm jumping right in. Like, how did you go from idea to putting it on the page? Did you see the whole story? What was that like?
So it's so cliche to be like, it came to me in a dream. But I did have a one dream about like this, this space crew, like doing their thing, doing their job. And I woke up and I was like, that was a cool dream. And then I totally forgot about it. And then like, I'm a writer. Like this Silverfish is like my first novel, but I always like enjoy creating characters, like creating scenarios. So I did go back and think of like, well, if I did have, a space crew, what would that look like? Like, what roles would need to be filled, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of had an idea of what character archetypes I would work with. But then I just put the idea to the side. And then I had another dream about like two men who were like trapped in a spot together, and like they were bickering the whole time. It was very much like Star Wars Episode 3, they're trapped with the Ewoks kind of vibes. So I woke up and I was like, all right, the universe is trying to tell me something. I need to write the book. And so then I had to come up with like the premise, because I had this idea for like space adventure, but how to make it unique, how to make it interesting, how to make it fun. And my husband actually works for the post office. He's a mail carrier. He's a city carrier. So every day he's coming home with like stories about people he's met or like encounters he's had. And I've always loved his job for him. Like, I don't have to do the job, but I love his job for him because he just gets to meet so many people in a day and be part of something that is surprisingly intricate. Like the post office, like history post office, if you ever get the chance to look it up, it is so cool. Like there's so much like hidden lore and just interesting stuff that goes in the mechanics of like getting something from one place to the next. So shout out to our postal service workers. I love them so much. So his occupation kind of became the point of like, okay, I'm not writing what I know, but I am writing what the man I love knows. So what if they were postal workers? And so like the idea just started like, got the ball rolling in my head of like, okay, they're postal workers, like what's the hook, what's interesting, what if like stowaway? Like, what if somebody is trying to like ship himself out, which historically has happened. There have been people who have attempted to like put themselves in boxes and try to get to somewhere else.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's such a cool history, and it's happened more than once. I
mean, I guess it would be cheaper than an airplane. I mean, a lot of bumps and bruises and tossing.
There's one story about like a guy who stowed away on a mail airplane to get out of the box and steal like everything that was in the box. He got caught.
He
got so caught. But that was kind of the inspiration of like, okay, man in box on a ship. Why is he there? Where is he going? And so from there, it was kind of figuring out like, why is this guy here? Like, what is he? We have our hook. Now let's explore further. And one thing that is true about me in my writing process is that I will write multiple chapter ones, trying to figure out like the tone, the point of view character, who they are, what's going on, what the world is like. So a lot of the times when I start writing, I don't have all the answers. I find the answers as I'm writing and as I'm finding that I'm developing the world. So there are like 2 or 3 chapter ones that I totally like tossed out, but I was able to get some information about the world that I was building from those drafts.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay.
Yeah. And finally, like once I was comfortable with like, okay, he's escaping from this place that he doesn't want to be, like classic like Civil War scenario. That's why he can't go back. That's why they're not going back. They're like, oh, it's like bombs. Like our ship is not built for war, people. It is a post-war ship. So like that's why they're not going back. That's why he's not going back. All right, let's explore and like make this world a little more. And so yeah, so that's like part 1 of my process basically, is just getting the idea down on paper and finding more ideas around it. It's basically drawing a stick figure and then adding more detail around it.
Oh, I love that. And I have some questions, but first I'm going to go back to when I probably should have started with of like, did you always know you wanted to be like an author? Like, what was that like for you?
I did. I thought I was going to be a Hollywood star right up until 3rd grade. At which point I did a hard pivot to be like, I'm going to be a best-selling author. What? Like, it's hard? So I've always had the dream to be a writer and be an author. I did my degree is in education, and I love my job. Like I love my job so much. There's nothing else I would rather spend my day doing, but when I come home at night, that's when I get to write and do my other thing that I'm really passionate about. So yes, the roundabout answer to your question, I always knew I wanted to be a writer.
I love that, like, being a lifelong creative, I think is really exciting. And, I love when you were talking about how you do multiple chapter ones. And I think that's a valuable lesson of like where the story starts sometimes changes, right? Like,
Mhm.
like just because, you put something on the page, it needs some like beyond editing. Sometimes it's just not right or where the story should start, and like giving yourself that permission to change it as much as possible.
Exactly. You can have the best premise in the world, but sometimes that premise isn't initially going to lead you to the place where the story continues. It just stops
Mm-hmm.
dead. And then you have to pivot and be like, okay, what about this setting, this character, this idea is not working? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm finding that a lot with the sequel to the Silverfish I've started writing. I that one has maybe like 5 or 6 chapter ones at this point because the point of view character,
Really?
yes, because the point of view character that I started with just wasn't working. Like it wasn't interesting. It wasn't fast. It wasn't hooking. And like I'm a writer and I'm like this is boring. So like finally I had to switch. Like I had to bite the bullet and be like I really want this character to be the POV, but they're not. So let's figure out
Mm.
who it is.
Oh, I love that. I love how questions are so much a part of your process, because I think that just helps you to continue to like develop and get to the heart of it. Like, and it keeps the story interesting. You
Mm-hmm.
know, are you like a question person? Do you like asking questions?
Oh, I love asking questions. I so my claim to fame at work is that I have like piles and piles and piles of useless knowledge. Because what I'll do is that I'll just start like with a random question about something, and then I'll go and I'll just research it and be like, tell me more about the history of the cheesecloth. And then I get to learn about the history of the cheesecloth, and it's great. And then the kids will be talking about something random in class, and I'll be like, did you know? So I am a lifelong questioner because I just love gaining knowledge. I just love learning about things. And that has served me well in the writing capacity because I may not be a mail carrier or an engineer or an astronaut, but I can learn about those things, and then that's part of the fun of the process for me.
Absolutely. And then you get to infuse it with like you, right? Like that's how you make it your own, right? Like by taking that knowledge and like, oh, okay, well, let me reimagine it this way, or like what would I do? And like I think it just helps to layer, especially in that like sci-fi space.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like the
Absolutely.
process of writing, people, and we all do it. Like we're all authors. We're all like, oh my god, I have to write today. Like, why can't it just get on the page and be
Yes,
done?
literally.
Literally. But part of the joy is like learning new things and incorporating those new things into what you learned, and like kind of getting a chance to like show off your knowledge and what you've
Hmm.
learned, whether it be like police procedural like Sleeping Beauty or how a spaceship works.
I love it. And speaking of Sleeping Beauty, which also started as a dream, yours started as a dream. And like, did any of the dream make it into your book?
Um, a teeny tiny bit. There is one scene very early on where our two main characters, one is the Captain Horace. He's very sweet, gentlest guy you'll ever meet. Passionate about the Postal Service, passionate about insects, just a nice guy. And then our dear antagonist is Perseus slash Percy, who is, this very like straight laced, stern, no nonsense, like grew up in this militaristic society, no idea what fun is, would not know a joke if it poked him in the back. Um, like they're like stuck on this alien planet together and like tramping through the woods trying to get themselves out. Um, and they're having this kind of back and forth trying to figure each other out. And the impetus for that scene was that second dream where these two guys were stuck, like absolutely like stuck with the Ewoks. No Ewoks in my book. They didn't make it in. But two guys walking along in the woods trying to figure each other out was about as close as I could get.
And how was that for you? Like, was it kind of like intimidating trying to match your dream, or was it like the perfect like jumping off point?
I think it was the perfect jumping off point. I wasn't wedded to like the dream
Yeah.
because like dreams for me, like there's information you can get from them, like a lot, like you can learn about your own thought process, what's going on with your life, how are you processing your emotions, what you watch on TV tonight, like all of that is like being sifted through your dreams. And so I knew that I wasn't wedded to like the concept of them being like stuck, and I also wasn't wedded to the concept of just being two guys. There's a whole crew. There are five of them, but still. And I knew that the dream was just the jumping off point. It was the
Mm.
interesting hook, and then it was my job to fill in the empty spaces.
Oh, I love that because I think it kind of gives words to like my process. So like when I was writing the dream, like so like a little bit of chapter one and a lot of chapter two came from the dream, like where Lyra's talking with her therapist and that dynamic. But in my dream, and maybe it could have been like because I saw her in that vulnerable place, I thought she was going to be much softer, much more
Mm.
meek, much more, just, just softer. And that is not how she ended up at all. And so it was interesting kind of navigating that. And there wasn't like, it didn't feel like I was doing something wrong, but it's just like, wow, this is different. And I didn't know what to
Mhm.
do with that information. But I think like you're saying, like it's just oh, like let me take this information and then like, okay, now that's as inspiration and just kind of play and create and see what comes out.
Right, because yes, exactly. Because and I think like for Lyra, for me, when I was reading it, she is more interesting because she's got this like tougher exterior, this tougher facade that she uses to navigate the world and her relationships or lack thereof. So I think that makes her more interesting to read about and like the challenges that she has to overcome.
I love that. Like, yeah, she definitely is a prickly pear.
But
But
you know what?
that
She's
makes
earned the
her
right to be. It's okay. It's okay.
right. 1000%. But yeah, and so I'm kind of curious and thinking about, readers who may be listening and like again, like they have this idea that turns into a lot of ideas. Like, did that ever happen where it was too many ideas that came to you at once and you didn't know where to go, or it was kind of like a clear direction?
It's definitely yes. The answer is yes. Is that there are a lot of places you can go with the kind of like, is it a workplace comedy? Is it a dramedy? Is it
Mm,
a sci-fi? Is it an adventure? Like, what's going on here? So it was a lot of streamlining the story. And actually, the first thing that I did is that I had my initial hook, and then I came up with the ending. And I'm like, okay, I have these 2 points.
mm,
Now I got to figure out what the hell happens in the middle to like
mm-hmm,
connect them. So I think if you're somebody who has a really interesting idea, one of the first things that's really healthy and helpful to do is find an ending. And it doesn't have to be
mm,
like the same ending. Like things can change, but within your story, you have to figure out, okay, is the murder getting resolved? Is the
mm-hmm,
dragon being slain? Is the package being delivered? Are the two leads going to kiss or are they not going to kiss? And so
mm-hmm.
once you've got like, I need this to happen, it serves as your roadmap to the rest of your story, because now it's all about getting characters from point A to point B. Which I'm making it sound so simple. It's not that simple. They're gonna argue with you the whole time, but you still have the map in hand.
1000%. But like, as I kind of write in two processes. Like, when it comes to the fantasy, it seems to come in spurts. I may know the ending, the middle, beginning is like, but like, I'll have these different scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, pouring that out, getting it on the page, it is easier because then, oh, I'm just filling in the gap. How do I get from there to there to there? Where Lyra likes to, like, okay, we're starting here, or this is a jumping off. Then I'll get the next couple scenes, then the next, and I'm constantly like, "Well, where am I ending? Where am I going next?" And so, I think someone had asked me this before, like, which do I prefer? I think I like getting different scenes because then it,
Mm-hmm.
again, like you're just filling it in. It's like, okay, I have beginning, middle, end, versus like, okay, we have beginning. Now where are we
Now
ending?
there we go. And I also
Mm-hmm.
find that when you have your scenes and you like, it gives you something to look forward to. Of
Uh,
like, yes, this scene is coming up. Oh, I'm so excited to write this part of the story. And you have to sprinkle those in for yourself
mm-hmm.
in order to like motivate yourself to get to that next goalpost in writing the story.
1000%. Even if, and I'm gonna ask you if you're like a plotter or a pantser, but
Mhm.
like especially even if you are like a pantser, what I would say, or at least this is what helps me, is like even if I know the next two scenes that I want to write, I will jot that down, get it out of my head so I can focus on the first part, get that, and like so even if it's not the whole story, getting the bullet points of what you know out can
Mhm.
sometimes help you just like, oh, okay, so I can end here because I know tomorrow I'm going to start here. So
Mhm.
even if you're just like, okay, what's the sentence I'm starting off with, going with that, and I think it definitely helps.
100%, absolutely. Just when I was writing Silverfish, like I had a Google Doc with the bullet points in it of like, do this, do that, do this, do that. They go here, they go there. So yes, yes, 100%, I agree with that.
Absolutely. So are you more of like a plotter or a pantser?
Um, I think technically I fall on the plotter side because what I like to do, and this is going to sound insane probably, but like I like to figure out how many chapters the story is going to have. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, this has to stop at 35 chapters. This has to stop at 30 chapters. This has to stop at 40 chapters. This has to stop at 25. And so I'm kind of like giving myself, all right, you have this much room to tell this story. What has to happen in order to like make that happen?
Oh,
And
that's like a
then
nice challenge for your brain to chew on.
it is. And sometimes like I'll add a chapter or two, but it's never like my initial plotting is never like 10 chapters off from where I started. Like I think
Mm.
Silverfish, I think I was like 30, and I think I ended with 30. I don't know. I have to go back and count my own chapters. The Silverfish chapters are weird because there are like three non-chapters. There are three interludes, but that's
Mm.
so what I do after I like have my chapter count is that I'll go in and like write my bulleted list of like step one, they get the package. Package has a guy inside it, have to negotiate terms, like they're flying complication one. Getting to know each other. Complication two. Still getting to know each other. Villainous interlude. So like figuring out, okay, these two bullets will go in this chapter, these two bullets will go in this chapter, blah 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 blah. And then from there, kind of fleshing out each chapter and what happens based on my bullet points.
Nice. And do you know everything as far as like word count when you start, or
No, no, I try so hard not to look at the word count, um, just to like alleviate any kind of background pressure of like, oh, this chapter's not as long as the next one, or this chapter is too long. Like that will all come out in editing. It'll be fine. So I try not to look at word count, and then at the end of the story, I'm like, wow, I wrote a long book. So,
I should do that because, like, I think because when I started out, there was so much talk about word count and like this is what a novel should be and all these things, and like starting out with even with like NaNoWriMo, like
mm-hmm.
I always hyperfixate on the word count that I never meet for myself. I'm like, I'm gonna write this much, and the story's like, no, I want to be done here, and
Right,
so I'm just like, well, dang.
right. I think like holding yourself to a word count, one is hard. Two, you never want to add fluff. You never want to artificially those
Yes,
numbers.
totally agree. Because sometimes I hate when you read a novel and you're just like, why is this here?
Right. I'm like, you're not getting paid by the word, so why is this here?
Yo, literally, that is going to be on my t-shirt. You're not getting paid by the word.
But it is definitely like this outside pressure though. Like I just wrote a short story for like a submission, and they said like, oh, cap it at 5,000 words. And my short story wound up being like 1,500s. Like
Hmm.
it is a short story, and I'm sitting there like, should it be
Right.
longer? No. And like had to like talk myself out of, you did what you had to do. It's just a conversation like between two people. It's following the theme. You did the thing. Don't add fluff because it's not going to help the story at all.
I love that, and can you maybe talk more about that for people who really do struggle with those internal thoughts of like, should I do this? Should I do that? Is it easy for you to be like no, like this is what we're doing, we're in line, or is that a bit of a struggle for you?
It is easy for me, but only because in high school I was in AP history class,
Mm.
and the one thing that was drilled into my head by Mr. B, shout out to Mr. B, over and over and over again. And this was for essay writing, but I found it really helpful for creative writing too, is that you have to kill the dog. You have to kill the fluff. And like, he had this little like stuffed animal dog in the room, and he would like show it to us and be like, see this dog? Kill it. And so because essay writing, again, like, you don't want a lot of fluff. You want to get to your point. You want to get to your arguments.
This is true.
And so when I started writing, I mean, I was writing at the time, but it was like high school writing. You know what I mean? When I started like writing in earnest, it was very much of like, remember, like, you don't need the fluff. You don't need the dog. Like, keep it. You can have, you know, extremely beautiful language. Like, you can have like really poignant moments, but each moment has to mean something. It has to reveal something about a character. It has to further the plot. It has to like demonstrate your themes. Or else, like, what's the point?
Like, for me personally, I enjoy writing like that because I will get distracted. Like, I forget this book. It was like literary fiction, and like it was like describing the bed sheets and how it reminded of something and this flower. And now my brain has like ADHD went off to the wind. I have now been stuck on the page for 5 minutes. Like, just give me the action points or else I'm getting distracted. So yeah, I totally agree.
And it can, yeah, like, and you can have, you know, your moments of like, you know, this flower reminds so and so for XYZ, but you have to pick one flower, honey. It can't be the whole field. Like,
Listen.
the whole field.
At least not for me, because now and especially if it's not information I need for the book, the case, or whatever. Because now I'm holding this information. I'm like, what am I doing with it? What am I doing with it? So yeah, just give me the main points.
Yeah, especially for like for you as an author, like with writing mysteries, thrillers, everything that you put into the story, readers could interpret as like a clue or a sign. Like, mystery readers want a puzzle, right? And so when you're looking for the pieces that go along. So it would be easy for like a mystery writer to throw off their audience by including too much information.
I might have to try that as a means of distraction. Thank you for this tip.
You're so welcome.
Yeah. Is there anything that you don't like about the writing process?
I hate place setting. Like, that's the my least favorite thing I have to do. I hate having to describe what a room looks like, what a hallway looks like, what like the outside that they're stepping into looks like. I hate doing it. Like, why can't this image of what it looks like be translated directly onto the page in front of me? I have to describe where they're going. It sucks so bad, and I've never gotten comfortable with the process, but I have accepted like it. Like, at some point you have to do it. You can't just like have the reader imagine like this blank hallway. You have to describe the thing. And so what I do now is that I will write out like basic notes of like, the hallway is green, there are windows, some paintings, blah blah blah. We'll literally just say blah blah blah, like highlight it in red, put it bold, and then continue on. And then like a couple drafts later, I will come in and be like, okay, now you have to write the thing. I don't want like my aversion to place setting to slow down the writing. So I like chapters that like my beta readers are actively reading with that incomplete, like, this is what it will look like later note with them. And they've all understood it, and they usually get a kick out of like my like blah 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 question marks.
I love that. And so tell us a little bit about, well, for those who may not know, what are beta readers and what that process looks like for you?
Sure. Beta readers are readers who will basically read the rough drafts and get back to you with feedback. My experience with beta readers comes from like way back in the day, fanfiction.net. Every like fanfiction writer I knew had a beta reader, and it was usually it was usually friends or forum members who, you know, were all about like one particular medium, one particular franchise, so we all knew the characters. And you would have your beta, like, read your stuff, get back to you with corrections, with notes, being like, I really like this part, please fix this part, blah, blah, blah. And then you would post it on fanfiction, and you make a little note of, like, this was beta read by so-and-so, thank you. And nowadays, it's basically the same, except instead of fan fiction, I'm sending them my original stuff.
Nice, nice.
I still have a few people left over from those halcyon days on fanfiction.net that I will send stuff to, which is really nice.
That's nice. And I think again, like it helps in like one giving you a deadline to like push it along, and like that early feedback can definitely help you just not overthink so much.
Mm, absolutely. And it's also it's nice to have a hype squad. Like it's
Yeah.
really really nice when somebody comes back to you and is like, I love this. I'm so attached to this character. When's the next one? And we all write because we like to write and
Mm-hmm.
internal validation, but also the external validation is really nice. So if you're somebody who is thinking about writing and is maybe like hesitant to share writing, like send it to somebody that you know like will hype you up. Send it to somebody that you trust and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And then once they've like shared their thoughts and you've gotten comfortable with just the process of sharing stuff, that's when you can send it to people who will give you not sterner critiques, but be like, maybe you could do this instead, or maybe change this instead, blah, blah, blah.
No, I love that because I think in conversations about having friends and family critique, we sometimes dismiss like there's always like, oh, send it to people who are going to be honest and cruel and all of that. Sometimes it's too early for that. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's too early, and that's going to keep you stuck and not pushing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let people hype you up. Learn, because listen, someone who doesn't even know you, who doesn't even know your genre, is going to leave a bad review. It is okay. You will get that in
Yep.
those early stages. Hype yourself up, and let people who want to see you win like love on you, and then like you're going to have editors, you're going to have people who are going to give you that critical feedback that's going to help, but allow yourself to build that confidence before you get that.
Absolutely, because if you don't have the confidence, it's so much harder to put
Hmm.
out there. Um, and people will leave reviews where they're like, I don't get it, or like they're like, it will be hard, and so
Hmm.
like the support systems in place to be like, no, like I really liked XYZ is so so important just for your ability to keep going.
Absolutely, because like writing is like it's very vulnerable. You've taken something you've seen in your head that you've enjoyed, and you're sharing it. And again, everyone's not going to get that, and having people that do, and having people who are just as excited is so important to continue to keep going. Again, like there's enough hard parts as part of this. Let the fun parts marinate and be present.
Absolutely, which is why like I would recommend for like early readers like to be close friends and
Mm-hmm.
say like let them be your beta readers and say like, oh, I really enjoyed this, I had thoughts about that, when is this going to happen in the story, and that just makes like a nice loop of like you creating them reading, you creating them reading.
1000%. Emily, anything you could share about book two? I know I have not devoured book one yet, but like anything you could share about the upcoming novel.
So the first book is called The Silverfish. The second book will be called The Wasp. There's like an insect, specifically like a kind of a pest theme going on, which is weird. You're like, what does that have to do with the postal service? You have to read the book. I promise you, there's a point. Um, and it is set in a location featured in book one, um, when the posties are grounded. Like they've like
I love that they're called the
one
posties. I love this.
one of my beta readers is Australian. And when I was first like describing like the premise to her, she came back with space posties, which I guess is like an Australian term for like postal workers. And so I've just been calling them the posties ever since because I think it's so cute. So the crew of the Silverfish, my space posties, are grounded in one location, and it's driving them all freaking crazy because all they want to do is like be out in the stars. And they can't because of certain consequences of book one. And so it's about, I can't tell you what it's about. You have to read the book. But it,
I tried to have her give us something. I was like, just be silent.
okay, so it is called The Wasp. The posties are grounded in one location, so they're not going through the stars. And there is an actual kind of wasp insect alien that
Oh,
is
I'm excited.
prominently. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Oh, one thing I can share is that each each book, I say like they're written, each story that I have planned centers around one of the posties in particular. So like the Silverfish is about Horace and Percy. Um, like they are the main characters. The main character of the next one is Roddy, who is the pilot. And Roddy is very much like loudmouth, chatterbox, the funny one, the pretty one. He's a lot of fun, and he's going through it. So if you read book one and you really like Roddy, prepare for him to go through it in book two.
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. And so, have you like plotted out all of the books or just like your next one? How like deep into the process are you?
I I have vague concepts for the others because I know like each postie has a struggle, like something that they're gonna have to face about reality, about themselves, about what have you. So I know like the basic concept of like how are they going to be forced to confront this thing that they say doesn't bother them but actually does. And right now I would say the most complete one is actually the last one. The other two are kind of just like in planning stages of I have vague ideas. We'll see if they follow through. The last one is like the big like climactic like conclusion. So it actually has the most fleshed out parts to it.
Oh,
See,
that
I'm
is so
planning the
exciting.
ending again. See, I'm planning the ending and I'm working backwards to the middle.
Oh, I'm really excited and like please let folks know where they can find your book and how can they stay like updated on everything that you have going on.
Sure. So please follow me at E Fisher Books on Instagram. I'm very funny, so you should like follow me for fun. Um, find the Silverfish at book indie bookstores. Please do. We love our indie bookstores. But you can also find it through Amazon. It's available on Kindle, and it is on Goodreads. So if you read it and you like it, leave a review on Goodreads. If you read it and you don't like it, don't leave a review on Goodreads.
Thanks.
All right, and that's me. That's all I got.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Please come back when you know the release of book two, and let us know like okay, arcs. How do we sign up when it's that time? You
Absolutely,
know,
for sure.
absolutely. Any last words that you want to leave us with? Any other things?
Um, my last words is that if you want to write, you just have to do it.
Mm,
The thing in my head that is most important is that a finished book is better than a perfect book. You will
yes.
never have exactly what you wanted or you pictured, but it is okay. And getting stuck in like the I need it to be exactly right is is just going to slow you down. You have to forgive yourself, like let yourself jump over paragraphs that aren't working, parts of the stories that aren't working. The process should be joyful. And
Ooh, I love
you
that.
get bogged down in the details, the process will not be joyful.
I love that so much and like literally had to use that. Like there's a scene that I know isn't as strong. It's a bit jumpy and I'm like, just get it down. You can
Mm-hmm.
make it right, but like where you need to go. And it actually helped because taking like some space, I was like, oh, I need to go add this here. And I was able to develop it and move forward. But if I had nothing, if I would have deleted everything, I wouldn't have been able to get the bones to the next part of it.
Yep.
And then about you have to write from a joyful place.
Mm-hmm.
Even like when you're writing pain and drama, you have to enjoy what you're doing, or else I don't think it's going to resonate with your reader. I think it's going to fall flat. I think that creativity, because there is so much hard work that we have to do, it comes from like that desire of wanting to do that. And so if you're struggling with writer's block or things like that, I would say first take care of you, get back to joy, and then get
Mm-hmm.
back to the page.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. Take your joy, find your joy, then get back to the page. And go back and read some books. I always feel more inspired
Yes.
after I've like gone and either read something new or like read a favorite. It's nice to just step back and refresh sometimes. So give yourself time.
Literally, literally step back and refresh. Thank you so much for that, Emily. And y'all, thank you for listening. Please make sure to follow and support, and we will see you on the next time.
And bye.
Bye.